It's back up.
Is it back up? Okay. Can we do a song just to get back everything back on? Let's take a break.
Found the sound 98.9
Lord, SKN in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem scandal is order. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society, this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and man mixari. This Labour bunch right to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economists all hard life crippling, we a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no India. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's with fake. Under these enemies of the state, AAG, Nadigate lawyer. He really a pamper playing Labour third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult of the greedy. He just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country
we are
going
back.
up with smoke. While Mr. Smile.
We are back. I do apologize for whatever technical difficulties that is being experienced by the technical crew. I do apologize. I don't know if it's the intensity of our conversation, the frankness of our conversation that has sent some, unexpected issues our way. But we will deal with the issues as they come. So as you were saying, DJ, that the Labour administration that Dr. Drew inherited was a fractured one.
Yes, honestly, that is my view, because speaking to people here on the ground and people overseas, as anyone would know, I was deep in the trench pushing the fight to get rid of the former administration. And basically it was, you could say, 3 segments. You had your Labour, Douglas Labour, Dr. Joe Labour, and then you have some in the middle that don't know whether they go left or right. Mm-hmm. And they still exist, I mean, it's no question about that. All of the parties suffered in some way. PAM have had their issues. The PLP have their issues. Those and Nevis have their issues. The problem is that we in this Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, for whatever reason, we let the party politics get the better of us. I think if we deal with the issues as they are and think about the country, that motto we have, country above self, for whatever reason, is really not working. It's always in the reverse. It's always self above country. It appears to me now with the elected politicians and even those who are trying to get in. So where we're going to resolve this matter is really up to the people. And many people don't want to hear the facts,
Yes. And DJ, I mean, we are speaking about the issues as it relates to the administration, the Labour administration. But I mean, the People's Action Movement is ready. Let me say that the People's Action Movement in the last general election, we realized there was some sort of disagreement between the fractions of the Team Unity administration. The People's Action Movement, since then, we have been rebuilding. You understand? We have elected a new political leader. We are touching base with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Just recently, there was an article circulated by the People's Action Movement of our convention that is going to be on June 1st. In fact, the political leader and the party has decided to announce 2 and candidates 2 and for candidates for constituency 2 and 4. And so the People's Action Movement, where the Labour Party is disintegrating at this point in time, is actually rebuilding strongly. And so we will present our plans to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis at the appropriate time, recognizing that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve better. I know that you have been a staunch Labour supporter, but I want to tell you that our doors are wide open for you, and for anyone who has an interest in nation building, because at the end of the day, we are a political party that put people first. We are a party that wants the best for St. Kitts and Nevis. And we have seen that over the 3 years almost of this Labour administration, unfulfilled promises. You look at Dr. Hanley. You say you're still in support of the Prime Minister. But let's look at the Deputy Prime Minister now. We look at Dr. Hanley, who is the Minister of Education and the Minister of Housing, promised this country a housing revolution. The government signed contract with the East Coast, a Trinidadian company, saying that it's going to build 2,400 homes over the term period, the term period that they have. Well, DJ? Just the other day, Deputy Prime Minister Hanley came to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis via press conference and said that ain't look like nothing happening. Well, we the people of St. Kitts and Nevis realized that nothing was happening about a year and a half ago. But the government just recently came to tell us what we already knew, that nothing happening when it comes to housing. I mean, what could be worse than that when persons in St. Kitts and Nevis are relying on affordable housing and relied on that promise, even though it was made after the election? They would have, how many people went up to NHC when they had the first talk about this program? Expectations through the roof, to be disappointed 2 years after.
And this is where I have an issue, Brother Gums, is that I don't think there's anyone in St. Kitts Nevis who have not heard my honest opinion of Jeffrey Hanley. In order to maintain the government that is there, Labour, they have 6 seats. You need minimum 6 people to have an independent government. Otherwise, you're speaking about a, coalition government. Mm-hmm. I'm not happy with Jeffrey. The Prime Minister knows this. Jeffrey knows this. I've said it publicly. And it's not a lack of me trying to reach out to Jeffrey to point out to him where he can improve. And one of the things that is in my gut is the Consent War situation, And when it comes to Consent War situation, I hold all of you accountable, PLP, People's Action Movement, the Labour Party, and the citizens of this federation. Because anyone gonna go missing and everybody just go their way drinking the liquor, smoking the weed and don't care about trying to find a man. And someone who supposed to be the acting Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister that I reached out to get support to find the gentleman. And to date, I am yet to even get a return call from Mr. Hanley. Yes. The autopsy report shows that we found Kant's just hours after he passed. He passed away within hours of when we found him. When we went up there that morning, we found Kant's within an hour of when we went to search. I have been beating this for months. Over 300 days I've been speaking about this. You guys have been going to your pop-up meetings and whatever. I have yet to hear any political party talk about the Buffalo Soldier. An icon like that. So all of you got your shortcomings,
Well, I do apologize for that. And I guess I could speak to you off the record more about that situation to see how we could, we could speak about that.
And that goes back to healthcare because this guy walked away from a nursing home, our elderly home.
Yes.
And through my investigation, as I say, I dig deep. I found out that there is no protocol in place. There is nothing in place for these health facilities. There's no guidelines.
Yeah.
All of us at some point in time may live to get to that age, and guess what? So you're speaking about healthcare. Healthcare is not just about the hospital or the health centers. It's also about these nursing home and daycares and whatever we have around the country. You're speaking about schools. We have many of these daycares and schools have special ed kids that need help. What is in place for these kids? Mental health. What is in place for them? Just the CBI money disappearing. You're campaigning about geothermal that God knows might not come out of the ground in my lifetime. But you got a hospital wing at Nevis, supposed to be done in 2 years from 2017 to 2019. 8 years later, over 20 million spent, and the building still there's a shell. I ain't hearing you all talking about these things. This is the country money. This is federal money we're talking about.
And as you talk about the CBI, there are persons, and I mean, there are persons who have made application to the government, and persons who've seen them made videos about their refund after. I mean,
and those videos, those Russian and Belarus and whatever. Do you realize that they're saying they started under the former administration and continued under this administration?
Well, we know that during the former administration there was word about the suspension, but we know under Dr. Drew there was a legislation passed.
Correct.
So there might have been a note from cabinet or a letter from cabinet from the Team Unity administration, but under Drew he continued, and he not only made it a cabinet decision, it became law. And so the SRNO was passed, the legislation amended, and a lot of these persons are still without the refund. And I could say, because I am a lawyer and I have, so to speak, I don't want to say in terms of trying to seek a refund on the matter.
You know, the situation with that matter and the prison project, again, is a pet project of mine, because for the life of me, I don't understand if we campaign that the prison project was not viable and things was wrong with it. How you gone into government and 3 years into your first term and the project still continue?
And you know what, that sounds like hypocrisy.
It's more than that to me, you know. Because there are many people in this federation, St. Kitts Nevis, not working. I have taken the time out on more than one occasion and visit that area. I count between 9 to 12 Chinese up there. Yeah. Whether they're Chinese or Taiwanese, whether they're not black. Isn't there some kind of understanding that there's a ratio of how much locals should be working with foreigners? I have called on Prime Minister Joe to produce the document, because I also hearing that there was never a permit stamp to build that prison. So at this point, I'm not even sure if that prison is a legal project. If you and I try to put on a little shed on our house in where we are, the building board come and knock it down or stop us. So how could you be building a whole prison and yet you went in there campaigning against the prison? The project continues without even coming back to the people. Well, the DJ want to know, you know, because I was in the ground. I was campaigning. We campaign about the electoral office. Nothing has done there. I need answers on that. The people need answers. So if that make me a mercenary, then I fit the buck. Because we campaign on these things and I expect them to be done.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, you say you support Dr. Drew. I mean, I can't agree with you on that, but that is your choice to make. I mean, I can't support someone who makes promises like he did, who is leading the government, and under his leadership, there seems to be no transparency in terms of these matters that you speak about.
Well, the GUMBS, the honest truth is this, and I want you to understand something. Like I said, this is not campaign season. This is governance season.
Yes.
And I am of the view that the present government and Prime Minister have an opportunity to fix some of these issues. That's why I'm speaking about them. I'm not speaking about them to cost the government or to do anything negative to the Prime Minister. I am speaking about them because we campaign on these issues, and I expect to see something done.
But if nothing is being done,
if nothing is being
it's
done,
been almost 3 years, DJ.
no, if nothing is being done, an election campaign come,
Yes.
and nothing is being done, and you hear Marisha pushing an agenda that election season is here, campaign season is here, nothing is done at the electoral office, and Marisha is championing the government, then you could free to call me hypocrite.
Okay. I think the people of St. Kitts and Nevis already gave them the benefit of the doubt when they elected them. After 3 years in, seeing nothing, there isn't much transparency, there isn't much accountability. For sure, I have no faith that this government is going to turn it around, that this administration is going to turn it around in the little time that they have left.
Well, the thing about it is, I don't think that they can build 2,400 house in 2 years, right? So only a crazy man, unless they're going to bring in a very big team to do that. There's a lot of things that was promised that I don't expect them to accomplish at this stage of the game. But I think there's an opportunity to show intent. You say you are an attorney, and I heard you are an attorney.
Yes.
And I think you know that if someone get murdered, even if you didn't pull the trigger, if it was a part of providing the tool, that person could be charged, right? So just the same, you're going to charge someone for intent. You could give them some credit that at least they try. And even if you want to take them out of office, you take them out. Remember my campaign in the last election, you know. The CBI money is yours, so when they bring it, take it and vote them out. Get rid of them. I'm the one that was championing that motto, get rid of them.
So basically, I'm thinking that the hardship that we're under right now, you're saying that you were party to do that?
Well, whatever the Labour administration is doing right now,
Yes.
positive or negative, I would have to take responsibility. I campaign against the former administration. I campaign to put in a Labour administration. So this is why it's so hard for me when I am trying to show them that, listen, this is not what we voted for. This is not what we campaign on. So for their supporters, the ministers of government to get upset with me because I'm speaking out, is fine. The time will come for us to determine which direction we're going to go. But for now, the best I can do is remind them that this is what we campaign on. This was your manifesto. You promised A, B, C, D. And you are doing the same, if not worse, from the former administration. So if I campaign to get rid of a certain situation for our citizens, and you come in doing the same thing I was, don't tell me that is what was being done before. That is why they are not there. That's what we change. So, I'm going to answer your question because I understand what you're trying to say. There's a couple of new, fresh young people in PAM that have never had an opportunity.
Yes.
And you guys are building.
Yes.
For me, I do not believe in the recycling of the politicians that have done the damage. It's like somebody burned down your house and you want to give them the job now to fix it back. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis will have to pay attention to the facts. And I'm asking everybody, for all parties, come out of the party thing. Look at what's best for the country. We're just passing through.
Yes.
So it's time for us to start doing the right thing. If you really go back and examine the amount of money passed through this country, this CBI, and you guys might be upset with Mr. Martinez, but he pointed out to us. That kind of money, every citizen in this country could have been better off. Every school could have been better off. The police station, the fire trucks, the ambulance that we are short on. There's a lot of things could have been better if they had handled the money's right.
And this is the thing. A lot of persons who speak about the CBI and, they talk about the wealth of money that was received or could have been received. our country should be in such a better state in terms of infrastructure, in terms of social services than we are now. And so the question, as you many persons ask, is where has that money gone? You understand? How has it been spent? And where is it? I know that there are persons who disagree with citizenship by investment. They feel as though it's selling of the passport, selling of your birthright to others. But if it's a system that has been in place and continue to be in place, it must be, and it is going to be continue to be put in place, it must be utilized to the best interest of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Our lives should be better.
If nothing else come out of anything for 2025 for me, Mr. Hazard, there's 3 things I would like to see. More than 3.
Yes.
But I would like to see them release the agreement for Ramada Hotel. Because I understand the government have 30% in there, Galaxy have 70%. I would like to see the documents on that. The prison project, I would like to see the documents on that. Bring it to the citizens. The electoral office matter need to be addressed. The hospital situation there in Nevis need to be addressed. Not too long ago, I heard the division crying about some private investor supposed to be giving loan to upgrade the Vance Emery Airport in Nevis. I don't know what's going on with that. But I'm hearing some story now about the CBI going to be giving up to some company to upgrade the RLB. We know the work to be done. We know that when you have first-time ministers going to office, you're learning on the job. And that's another thing, I laugh after that, These ministers get elected without knowledge of the work they're going to do. They're learning on the job, they're going to make mistakes. Yes. We have to accept that. But you go there to get a job, you better have some kind of degree.
And you better work before your salary get increased.
Okay.
Yeah. You better work before you get an increase.
So we put a bunch of people in position to tell us what. There's a gentleman I was speaking to in Sandy Point one day. He said, Marisha, you all not learning this thing, Do you realize that these people already failed before you all put them in office and now you still put them there? Because it's an X you give them to go into government, When you go and do your schoolwork, if your work is correct, they give you a tick. If it's not good, you give you an X. So we X them and give them a work, So we really have to look at these things the right time. But as I'm going to be honest with you,
yes,
the conversation you want to have can't get done in an hour,
I know.
There's so much to talk about,
Yes,
But
there's so much.
But the
situation, we have some time. Our life went down, so they have some time for us. And I know we can't even get it within an hour and a half.
No.
But there's so many people who have been logging on and persons interacting. You understand, this evening. I am so sorry that the live went down because at one point in time, we had over 100 people on the Facebook alone at one point in time listening. And so they are interested in what you have to say. And, oftentimes persons go back and view the show.
I had over 1,000.
Yes, exactly. So you understand.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that there are many Labour supporters like you who are appreciative of you in the sense that you are speaking things that many of them fear to talk about in public.
And that is a fact because many of them come to me and when I engage them, they will say, no, call me name, I'm going to send you a voice note, but not play it on your podcast and whatever. So what I am saying now or what I say on a Wednesday evening, the reality is what's on the ground.
Yes.
So who want to come after me? As I told them last week, it's not about the crowd in the match. Pay attention to the thousands on the line that line the route. Mm-hmm. Them are the people who don't have any interest and looking for a way out.
Yes.
So you either try and get them into your camp or you're going to lose. I made it my business on Labor Day, Mm-hmm. I went to the PAM event to see how things look there. Mm-hmm. And I realized you guys had a good showing and you're holding your base.
Yes.
I went up to Newtown by the PLP. They had a good showing there. They're holding their base. And we know what happened with the labor march. The point I am simply trying to make is this. This is not the days when your grandparents going to make sure they take you to the booth and you're going to vote for who they tell you to vote. The people of today, they are paying attention. Everybody wants to know that they're lying in a place comfortable, or they're eating comfortable, or they have a job, whatever. And the thing about it is not everyone that's going to have a government job.
Yes.
You know, people talk about sucking labor breasts and whatever. The reality is, brother, is this. When I campaigned to get rid of the farm administration, I didn't campaign to get anything, to do no work in St. Kitts. Okay? And after the government got into power, the then ambassador in New York sent me a WhatsApp. It's there in my phone, anybody can see it. Asked me to come and meet with her. And basically outline the government is now elected and they have these situations and the PM want to know if there is anything that I can do, what a contribution I can make. And it was several months of ifing and butting and don't want to do it because what I'm getting now is what I knew will happen. People are going to say, you're campaigning for a job. I wasn't looking for nothing.
Yes.
I was in a meeting with the Prime Minister after he was elected and several other people. I sit at the table and tell them I don't want anything. Everybody at the table, they're quiet. One other guy said he don't want anything either. But when he got up from the table, he's in the corner with the Prime Minister whispering what he wants. So some people are not men. They are not honest. If I didn't have something positive to contribute, I would not come just to get the money.
Yes.
The DJ is okay. The DJ will survive. You know, I am 60 years of age. I put in 40 plus years in North America. I'm a qualified electrician. I have done many things. So I'm not here begging for nobody for nothing. Right? So who want to talk about sucking labor breasts is fine. Whether I am benefiting from something or not, wrong is wrong.
Yes.
You cannot tell me that the sky is blue and I'm going to jump up and clap is red because I don't want the Prime Minister to get upset with me. It is not going to happen. And I am about God, country, citizens.
Yes.
So who do have a problem with that? Let me repeat it. God, country, citizens. And any political meeting taking place in the Federation while I'm here, I'm going to attend every one of them. Every party. Because when that time comes, I must make a decision when I speak to my people who is best, in my view, to run this country. That is how I feel. And the Labour administration currently, in the next go around, they're going to have to run and their work.
Yeah.
They're not coming in new. They're coming in after a full term. So they're going to have to run on what they did.
In fact, as you said that, the last election, there were new persons to the table. I mean, Dr. Hanley, even though he was elected into Parliament in 2020, he had not been in government before.
Correct.
So basically, he came with a clean slate. You had Samuel Duggins, not into government before.
Correct.
He would have come with a clean slate. You had Marsha Henderson,
Correct.
not elected before, clean slate. Who else?
Prime Minister
The
Drew.
Prime Minister Drew, not elected
4
before.
out of 6. So you have to run on your record.
4 out of 6.
Yeah.
So the only ones were Dr. Douglas
And Congress.
and Conway. And Conway, when he came, was not in government either.
I think.
When he won in 2015 and was in opposition.
Okay.
So 5
out of the 6
six were fresh and
were
new.
fresh and new.
In
Douglas
terms of
is the only
governance,
one.
yes.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. They have a whole term and they come in fresh and they're learning on the job. And if you're making a mistake, it's okay. But don't be thin-skinned like Big Lice and attack people. Because look at the situation now. DJ Marisha become popular today because somebody choose to go out there to attack him over what?
Just you trying to keep them accountable and trying for them to keep their promises.
That's all.
That would benefit them in the long run.
In the long run, it benefits
Because
them.
in the end, if they keep their promises, there's nothing to criticize.
But
And then, you know, Conway had this song about if Dougie listened to his many criticisms, then it'd be Labour again.
yeah.
But if he listens to his own song and Labour listens to the criticisms of the people today, they would be better off. But instead of listening to the criticisms of the masses, they take it as a act of treason and become vengeful. And that is not right.
Well, it is not right, but maybe that is the manifesto for the Labour Party. Once you're a part of the party and you support the party, you're supposed to support a wrong. But my grandparents, Jabani and Clemmy, didn't taught me that way. So I am free to think for wrong and right. And I am not going to worry about what people say about me. I've said it before. You can spread my life story on Church Street for the world to see. I don't have an issue with that. But you're going to be getting the facts from me. And it doesn't mean when I say something, we're going to all to agree on it.
Yes.
Because I am coming from a different angle. I see things different to most people.
Yes.
I have more knowledge than the average citizen about things that are taking place because I dig deep. If these journalists would really take the time out and dig like I do, they'll be able to educate the people. Because you see, make the job of a politician is to brainwash people, you know. But this brain you cannot wash. This brain done clean already. So you're not going to dirty it up.
Yes.
You know, I could see clear.
Yes. DJ, I mean, if you when you look at it, a lot of the old Labour is saying that Labour is not the problem, that Dr. Dre is the problem. Would you agree with them?
Well, people are saying that I don't agree with them. And I could tell you why. I see the internal problem, like I said, from the leadership campaign.
Yes.
Dr. Douglas is the problem for me, you know. Because Dr. Douglas have done well for Labour and the country. And he should have started the transition when the time was ripe. And that's where he and Timothy split up, you know. Where Timothy wanted it now, right? And look at where we are.
Yes.
So, you know, you must know when to call it quits.
Yes.
You know, when to give it up. Because right now, we're heading into a next election in, I would say, less than 2 years. Ain't no way that Dr. Douglas should be thinking about running again. But yet, there's no transition in place. There's nobody identified to run in that area. And that is bad for the party, it's bad for the country, it's selfish. And I'll tell Dougie that straight to his face. He know how I feel about him. I love him, he's my brethren. But whatever I can say to him privately, I can say it publicly. And who want to get upset with me and cuss me, no problem. That is fine.
There are many persons who share the view that you have just expressed,
but
but too afraid to say it.
Yeah, well, it's just as simple as time for him to do what he needs to do. If it was not for that leadership fight that they had prior to the last federal election, Labour would have been in a better position right now.
And you want me to tell you something? We, at the People's Action Movement, we changed our leadership, and our leader was uncontested. There were persons who criticized the DJ, saying that it should have been a keenly contested competition and that persons, you should have someone else. But you know what that showed? It showed that the People's Action Movement is united under the leadership of Natasha Shani Gray Brooks. It shows that we are not fragmented. It shows that when the time comes and the candidates are lined behind her, we support her for Prime Minister if we are successful. It shows the unity in the party rather than the talk about unity. You understand? Yeah. It shows through our actions. And so while the Labour Party fought among themselves, so you had the Drew fraction, the Jeffrey fraction, the Congress fraction, that seemed not to have healed. We avoided that. Yeah. We avoided that. And so the People's Action Movement is better placed than ever before to contest in the next general elections shortly. And again, it was a rebuilding for us.
Well, I believe that you guys have your issues as well, because I listened to some tape there with our living national hero calling on individuals to come under the yellow tent. But they must leave Timothy outside. Well, I also have clips with him said that he knew Timothy was no good, but he supported Timothy to get rid of Douglas. So he put his personal agenda ahead of the country. That is still affecting Pam, you know. if you talk to some of the people on the street, that is still affecting Pam. So you young stalwarts who coming in, you have a lot of work to do. But as you said, the reality is, if you guys continue to do your work the way that you are doing it,
Yes.
and Labour stay on the trajectory they're on, they're going to have some problem come election day. I'm trying to spin them back on track.
And they're not listening to you.
They don't have to. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who in this country. The DJ will be okay. Right? But I am saying what I am seeing and what the people are saying. And as I sit here, I do not know if you look at my podcast in the earlier days, but I remember saying to Prime Minister Joe,
Yes.
please do not go in there and make the mistake of the former government. Because if you do, I'm going to come at you harder than I went after Timothy. When your own lies bite you, it bite you hard.
Yes.
And I don't expect to go after anyone and somebody don't hit back. You go into a ring, you throw a punch, somebody going to throw one. So I'm not going to be soft, thin skin, as they would say, and get into any way and line with people. But the people, if you don't speak out or stand up, the country that you think that you love, you really don't love it. Because, partner, I went to a funeral there last week, you know. And I said it before. When we die, we don't feel nothing.
Yes.
It's the people we leave behind.
That is true.
When we put individuals in parliament to run a country and they're doing their betrayals
Yes.
or whatever to the country, they're not feeling it. They're dead. The people and the country is who feeling it. And if you don't cry out, they're dead. They don't think nothing is wrong.
That is true.
Right?
And they should be commending you for giving them some insight as to where they are going. Because if it is that they're not listening to you, they must also listen to the crowd size that has dwindled. That must be some reckoning. That is a litmus test to show them that, look here, you had a strong base. Not even your own base want to follow you anymore.
During the last campaign we had, Dwyer and I had a conversation, and I saw it happening right now. We were talking about the 90% that is basically non-existent, and the 10% that leave, they satisfy 5% of those people, and those 5%
Yes.
is paid to convince the other 5%. So you have 10% of the country trying to beat up on 90% to tell you what you're seeing is not so. That is where our problem is. The one or two who was crying out, some of them who get thrown out of their job, could not get any benefits. Who they tell $500 for PAP, step, whatever it was, is no good, we're going to give you $1,500. And then they get in. They stop the PAP, they tap the step, and they come and they give you $250 for 6 months.
Yes.
And that's okay. The DJ don't support these things, but that doesn't mean that I hate the Prime Minister. But the DJ does not support those things.
And then they make it seem as though they're giving more and not less.
Well,
It's a facade.
you got to remember, my partner dead gone, Rock said 5 was more than 20.
It is crazy. It's like when, as you say, Dr. Douglas looks at the match and then and he's saying it's huge.
Yeah.
When we all see, it's as though the emperor has no clothes on. All of us see the emperor ain't got on the clothes.
But I'll give you a joke, partner. You ain't seen nothing yet, I don't call names. I don't just talk, and people stay out there and get upset and go online and cuss me. After I spoke about the St. Paul's meeting,
Yes.
I guess the clip went viral.
Yes.
An individual called me the Saturday morning after, and Marisha, how could you do that? That's what you're talking about. How could you do that? That's what you're talking about. You're talking about the meeting in St. Paul's. You can't cuss the government and you're working for the government. And I listen, let me finish. I said, let me ask you a question. You was at the meeting? Yes. I said, was there a big crowd? That doesn't matter. And I said, this is where the problem lies. There's an issue within Constituency 6.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to want to address it. And I can see where it's going to affect the government. The people are crying out.
Yes.
And I decided to speak out. And instead of you all go and pull up Douglas and the other colleague in cabinet and ask them what the hell is going on, or you choose to attack the person that sounded the alarm.
Yes.
But the issue is not the DJ. The issue is the people that you are paying to represent the area.
Yes.
And this is where the problem lies. We have to stop attacking the messenger. I know sometimes when the postman show up, no money in the letter, so you don't want the letter. But sometimes you have to accept the letter and understand what's going on.
So, DJ, let me ask you a question. If you were to rank this administration from 1 to 10, 10 being the best and 1 being the worst, where would they fall?
Well, I'm going to fall in the middle, be honest with you.
5.
I'm going to fall in the middle because I don't know if we have the time to do it. They have done a lot. They have done a lot.
Really?
And they might not want to hear it. But
No,
they,
no,
have
but
done,
I-
they have done a lot.
What
There's
has-
a lot done.
Okay.
They have done a lot. Honestly, they have done a lot. And there's a lot still that should be done.
You know, I mean, if they have done a lot, people should be feeling this lot.
Well, that is true. But at the end of the day, it all depends on how you look at the situation.
Yes.
Because we spoke about the parliament. They went in there and they passed a lot of things.
Yes, they did.
And to me, many of the things they did not do. In 2023, right? Let me run down quick.
Well, I mean, you say it's a lot, but I know it ain't many. So
Okay.
we probably 1 minute could go, and of all the things that they've done, that you view them as good.
Okay, you could tell me. They paid 2 dividends, so to dividends, $500, even though it was to the wrong people, of $1,000, right? They increased the duty-free allowance amount to $675 to the end of January 24. They passed consumer fair protection for people in supermarket with the high prices, but nobody to enforce it. I think you know that as well.
I'm glad you qualified that, because I was going to qualify the CBI dividends. He said every 6 months.
Yes.
He did it for 2 periods, and he stopped.
Okay.
So that's incomplete.
All right. But we could get into that. The subsidized electricity, cooking gas, water, and all
That
of that.
has been subsidized by the farmer administration before.
Correct. But I'm just saying, you say what they do, I'm just trying to show you. They pay the GAE retired workers. They resolve a lot of issues.
That was coming under the last administration.
There was a lot of issue with people, 2 and 3 people name on the same land. They're still trying to resolve that.
So they say.
I know that for a fact.
Okay.
I checked. These things I dig deep, AZARD. I checked. They committed free and title to lifetime people in Upper Monkey Hill and Lagreed. I check it out.
Okay.
All right. They established minimum wages. They did that. I think you know that. They introduced free tuition in CFBC for the students. They reduced student loan from 9% to 5% at Development Bank. They removed import duties for school supplies. They gave up to $250 per child for school vouchers. I don't know if that's still happening, if the kids
That
didn't
was a
get it.
one-time effect,
Okay, well, you know.
based on my knowledge.
The infrastructure.
And to me, the spin-off was for them to capture information.
No, I'm
Go
going
ahead.
to give you something to deal with now.
Yes.
The part where they said they did, the infrastructure, starting to build affordable hurricane homes. That ain't getting a place.
And that is impactful.
All right. They said they drilled and found 7,000 gallons of water in Kia. You know the history behind that.
Many persons still have to go home and to try to get fresh before the water is off.
Within St. Paul, up to they get home at 7 o'clock, I still not going to water
So
to
I
take
mean,
fresh.
this government, right, DJ, what this government does, right, they say they do a lot of things, but when the impact isn't there.
You're not feeling it.
You're not feeling what they're saying they're doing.
So this what I'm saying is, I have said this before, right? The healthcare system and a lot of things that going on. I could go on and on and on. There's a lot of stuff. Tourism, a lot of things was done in tourism. But the problem is, a lot of things that was introduced by this government, the citizens, the people are not feeling it.
And that is the problem.
And there is, I believe that the marketing structure, whoever is out there selling them.
But DJ, let me ask,
yourself.
if it is that you said that you found water in Kenyan, and you said that the problem has been rectified. Okay, you say you find water in Kenyan, problem rectified, but then across the country, people ain't getting water adequately. The pressure is low in some areas, and then there's no water in some areas. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you are saying that you make things better, but we the people feel in a situation that is worse.
Again.
Make it make sense.
Again, the people, there's a saying, the wrong faces in the wrong spaces. And as a result, if action is not taken to turn around these things. But as I don't know if you was around back in the days when if someone, a young lady worked for civil service, no matter how nice she look, if she get pregnant and not married, she lose her job.
You mean when the People's Action Movement came in and addressed?
Correct.
Just like the People's Action Movement is going to come shortly to address some of these issues that we're facing now.
So I am giving you something to look at. And guess what? Mm-hmm. This government came in and the first female governor general they installed. You cannot change that.
I mean, okay. What benefit does that do for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis on a whole, though? What does it do?
That is a conversation for the people. Because I used to communicate with my friend basically several times a week. Mm-hmm. And now that she's Governor General, I don't know if she still have a phone.
So that is what I'm saying. So that is what I'm saying. They're doing a lot of things, but it's not trickling down to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and that's the issue. So yes, we have, and I'm not against women empowerment and women moving through spaces. But since then, what has been the spin-off to say that as a result this has happened?
I made those information available for the conversation. Mm-hmm. Let the people out there tell us what was the benefit to a female governor general. Mm-hmm. What were the benefit for 3 female ministers? Mm-hmm. What is the benefit for female speaker? Mm-hmm. I can say to you, this current female speaker, Miss Blanchett, I have engaged her. I have spoken with her. I have seen her action. I know she's trying. And when you inherit a government that we have right now, and an opposition, remember it's 3 parties in opposition, you know, and a divided government. It's not easy to deal with, you know. You understand? So you got to give the speaker credit. Now, the table 32 laws and passed 20. The good governance agenda we just spoke about. Are we feeling the good governance agenda?
Let me tell you, right, as a lawyer, we have matters in the court, and lawyers complain about service of documents.
Okay.
You understand? So you pass in legislation in Parliament, and on the ground in the court, there are lawyers who are complaining about their matters being served. It creates a bottleneck. So again, and this is what I'm saying. You talk about things and putting things in paper, the theory, but in practicality, we ain't feeling the benefit of it.
We're on the same page.
You understand?
Because guess what? They say they reform the peace program. We campaign against the peace program. I am against paying criminals not to commit crime, because I grew up knowing when you're a criminal, you know your space. Mm-hmm. So you're paying criminals not to commit crime while people who are trying to be good citizens cannot get a break. I have a problem with that. I understand you all have a judge-only trial. I have an issue with that. Because if a judge wake up one morning on the wrong side, didn't get to drink your whiskey the night before, he might come in and just decide he's going to give you 5 years for because he having a bad day. But if you got a jury trial of your peers, you might stand a better chance.
I mean, these are things to consider. And of course, there is the legislation provides for instances where there would be judge alone trials. But again, as you take it as a whole, the Labour administration toots about things that they've done in theory, but in practicality, when we look at what is happening on the ground, when we feel what is happening on the ground, it's little or nothing, DJ.
The thing
Little or
about it,
nothing.
the thing about it is, like I said, for me, I have a list. I can read out a lot of stuff that was done, but are we feeling the impact on the ground?
The only thing we're feeling is the impact of a struggling economy, high cost of living, and in America they voted in the last election that they had, and the economy was a major player. You understand? And across the region we are seeing where sitting governments are losing because the people are fed up. And the Labour Party can't sit comfortably thinking that they've traditionally had a large base and think that they're just relying on their party supporters alone is going to take them across the hurdle.
I have said this before, and I will say it again. There is no one party in St. Kitts Nevis that can win an election with just their supporters. You have to reach across the aisle to get that kind of support. And currently where we are, if elections were to call in the next couple of weeks,
Yeah.
I am of the view that the Labour Party going to have some serious issues. That's not Mauritia calling down the party. This is Mauritia talking what the people are saying on the ground.
And on that note, Marisha, I think we're about could end the program. I want to say thank you for coming and thank you for engaging with me. I know a lot of persons perhaps would have been dissatisfied with you, especially from the Labour Party, to engage on a program that they know that the deputy leader of the People's Action Movement is host of. But we must have conversations like this. And I am not afraid to have conversations with anyone as it relates to national building or nation building. You understand? Because if in government, we must be able to engage with persons who might not be from the same political party, And so if we want a better nation, we must have these discussions. You have highlighted some of the things that, you say that the Labour Party has done. I look at them and I say, in my view, that they are just scraping the surface. I mean, the bottom line is that the Labour administration is terribly performing. They're performing terribly. And the people of St. Kitts and Nevis can't wait for election there to get rid of them. The same song that they sang before are going to be the same song to remove them, because they have done nothing of good work to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The People's Action Movement continues to build. I want to say to those persons that we are having our caucus next week, Sunday, where we are going to do the internal party business, the re-election or election of officers. The only person or the only position not being contested will be the political leader, because the political leader has a term of 3 years. The general secretary is appointed and has a term of 3 years. Every other position, deputy political leader, chairman, assistant general secretary, treasurer, PRO, has a lifespan of 1 year, and that year has shortly be coming to its end. And so I want to say this too, as I said that, I will put my name forward again for deputy political leader of the People's Action Movement. I hope that it is the will of the people that I continue to serve in this position, because as a member of the party, I continue to put the theme of the party forefront, putting people first, clasping hands for progress. And we have so much in store for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. As I said before, the convention is June 1st. It's going to be the first convention after the year of our political leader, Natasha Shani Gray Brooks. And she is going to announce 2 candidates, the candidate for constituency number 2 and the candidate for constituency number 4. And she and her team would be working to ensure that the People's Action Movement is successful. Why? Because we care about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we'll continue to put the work in. We understand that, parties have its up and downs. There are times that you win, and there are times that you lose. even in losing, it's an opportunity for you to gain, basically gain back why you would have lost. You're speaking with the people, gaining from them what you could do different in the future. Of course, as you say, the People's Action Movement will be coming with a fresh slate, so to speak. And it's not just recycled politicians. It'll be persons who are fresh, persons who are willing to serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I want to conclude and say a pleasant night to everyone. Thank you for listening to the program. DJ, thank you for coming. To mothers out there who continue to celebrate Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to the women, mothers in constituency number 4. And of course, the extension in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Well, when it comes, I want to say thanks for the conversation
Yes.
as well. And I'll say this. I run a podcast and I invite folks to my podcast. And I expect when I give an invitation to get a positive response.
Yes.
As busy as I may have been tonight, I would have made the arrangement to come and have a conversation with you like I would have with any
And I
political
appreciate
party.
that. I appreciate that.
And who is best to have a conversation with than your opposition?
And I
Because
appreciate
you are able to have a discussion and either way and work out what the opinion is, because I'm pretty sure out of this conversation and I listening to you and I learn some things, I'm pretty sure you might have picked up some stuff that you may not have thought about, and you can go back and look at it for your next conversation, because when I spoke about cons, I know you all never even thought about that.
I've heard you
Right.
on your last podcast speak.
And you know the
about it.
problem about that? Khan's brother, to my knowledge, Mallet,
Yeah.
was an integral part of the PAM when he was living in St. Kitts. Can support PAM. And I have not seen the PAM party embrace the situation and speak about the situation.
Okay.
And that's some points that you guys are losing.
Okay.
So I invite you guys to look into the matter and understand that people are paying attention and lock into some of these things. And that's what's going on with Labour. They are not listening to their constituencies and taking care of the issues, so it fester.
Yes.
So,
Okay. Thank you, DJ. Thank you. Do have a pleasant night, everyone.
yes, sir, thanks.
Or caller and do not reflect the views of WinFM 98.9. WinFM reserves the views and opinions expressed in this program were solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WinFM 98.9. WinFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who in WinFM's considered opinion is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
Lord, this can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury, paper daddy and man mixari. This Labour bunch right to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economists all hard life crippling, we a collective menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no India. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, bare unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake. Under these enemies of the state, AAG, Nanicate lawyer. He really a pumper playing Labour, third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under Labour life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy on all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Government buildings, well then the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Unless this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy on all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord have mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their honor show. They got to go, oh, oh, oh. They got to go, oh, oh, oh. These menace to society, them are enemies of the state. Lord have mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their honor show. They got to go. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord have mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their honor show. They got to go, 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 oh. They got to go, 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 oh. Got to go, 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 oh. They got to go, 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 oh. Gatekeepers for the people.